Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about applying, inserting, filling the reservoir of the Roche Solo Micropump. So if you don't know, I recently started my pump journey and got my first pump at the very end of July this year, and I got the Roche Solo Micropump. So it is a patch pump, a bit like the Omnipod, but I think the setup and the way you fill the reservoir and the kind of functionality of the Solo versus the Omnipod are very different. So if you're looking to kind of choose between the two, I thought I would make this video to kind of show you, how you set up Solo and talk a little bit about a few of the differences with the Omnipod. I am going to do like a full pros and cons of the whole pump itself, but this video is just going to focus on the infusion site and the reservoir and all that kind of stuff. And while I was doing this, I thought I also wanted to chat a little bit about my favourite sites for this pump, because there are pros and cons of a few. So right now it's on my arm. You can't see it, I was going to show you, but it's absolutely freezing cold, so it's under my jumper, so I'll show you it obviously on me when we change the site. But the arm site I do really like. I personally haven't noticed any difference in terms of insulin absorption between different sites, so you can use arm, leg, stomach, and also the very bottom of your back. I haven't done the bottom of my back because I just feel like that would be the most uncomfortable thing in the world, trying to go to sleep, so I don't think I will ever try that, because the other three suit me fine. The thing I like about the arm site is it's very out of the way. If it's on the stomach or the legs, it can often get caught when you're getting changed or going to the loo or in the gym. Whereas on the arm, it's very out of the way. The kind of cons of that are I find it's actually quite painful to take the stick a bit off of the arm compared to everywhere else, because you've only got one hand, so you can't do it as gently, and that can sting a fair bit. And also, because I do have the Libra, which is always on one arm, that means I only ever have one arm that's available for me to use, and I don't want to constantly be sticking adhesives and needles in my arms all the time. So I try not to use my arm too often, maybe once every 2 weeks I will do a site on my arm. But it is one of my favourite ones in terms of outfits and just moving around in general. And also I use my stomach. This is probably the one I use the most often, even though it's not really my favourite, just because it's depends on kind of timings. So my favourite is my legs, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, but I can't use my legs as a site if I've got a leg day, because it gets knocked off when I'm doing hip thrusts and rolling the bar over my thighs. If I've got a leg day coming up, I can't use my legs, and so I end up using my stomach. So one thing about the stomach is you can kind of use most of the lower half of your stomach. However, I found, because when I bend down, it tends to fall off. I can only really use the very bottom bit of my stomach, so below the belly button, which doesn't leave too much room, because it is kind of the size of, this is the applicator device, but just to show you, it is about this size, which is kind of not that much smaller than the palm of my hands, and by the time it's actually all stuck on, it's about the size of the palm of your hand. So for example, on the stomach, if you have it there, that's obviously a lot of your stomach space taken up. So when it comes to rotating sites and making sure that you're getting fresh sites all the time, you can kind of run out of places on the stomach to put it, because like I said, I've only got the below the belly button area. So to kind of help with that, I put it on in different directions, because obviously the main thing, obviously I want to let the skin breathe and not try and put the adhesive over the same bit of skin too much. But the real issue with changing your sites is so that you don't get the actual cannula going in the same place close together or too often, because that can create scar tissue and create ineffective sites. So the main thing I need to focus on is this is where the cannula goes in, is putting this away from any other sites. And I do normally have a red mark where my cannula goes in for a good few weeks afterwards, so luckily I can see my past sites, and then I just try and slightly avoid them. So for example, if the last time I put it on I did it this way round, the next time I'll put it this way round, so the cannula is at the other end, and then I'll do that way and then that way, and then obviously within that I can kind of move it up or down slightly and do slightly different angles. But that is one thing, there isn't too much room on the stomach, and it can be a bit inconvenient for certain outfits and that kind of stuff. So normally if I have an event or something that I definitely want to get dressed up for, I tend to use my arms or my legs, because the stomach can just create kind of a bulge. And luckily my leg days are at the beginning of the week, and normally if I'm going out, obviously it's at the weekend, so then I can just kind of use my leg side for that. In terms of legs, like I said, I really like it. Obviously there's a big room, you've got all of your thigh to use. You can really easily rotate sides. I find it's very like out of the way. I like it in like clothes. It's quite easy for me. Obviously it depends what kind of clothes you wear. For me, I think it's less of a bump on my legs than it is on my stomach. But like I said, the only thing is I can't do a leg sight before a leg day because it will just fall off. So with that ramble about sights, I'm now going to apply my new pump. So technically for the Roche Solo pump, you have to change the reservoir every 4 days maximum, and the infusion site or the cannula every 3 days maximum. However, the reservoir only has 200 units of insulin, so for me that only lasts 3 days, and I change my reservoir every 3 days. I used to change it every 2 because I had a problem where I found a lot of them were failing on the 3rd day. So I got into a habit of changing it every 2nd day. However, it turns out it was just a bad batch of reservoirs, and I sent them back for testing. The customer service is really, really good. I explained what was happening. It was causing even the reservoir connection to my pump manager was even causing like this to fail a bit, but it was all due to the reservoirs. So they're really good. They asked them to be sent back for testing, and they send you like a free post thing, and then they also sent me reservoirs to replace the bad ones, and so now I can do every 3 days. And then with the infusion site, it is very personal. So my infusion sites become quite dodgy after 2 days, so I have to change mine every 2 days rather than every 3, but it would just be a bit of trial and error for you working out like how often you need to change. So I'm going to do it in my leg site today, and the first thing to do obviously is clean the site. So you have, this is the application insertion device, and then this is so this is the bit of adhesive where it sticks to the skin, and this is what holds the pump obviously to your body, and then this is the needle which is going to insert the cannula. So you have to line up these two together. There's a hook at the bottom, so you hook the bottom of the stickers onto there, and then the button goes through the middle, and then push it through. So now the sticker and stuff is all together. There's a hole in the top here, and you have your cannula, so you insert this with the bottom in and then click it in. To prime it, you have to, there's like a little lever here, you just pull the lever all the way around and then let go, and now that is ready to inject. Obviously there's like paper covering the sticky bit, but what I like to do is I line it up on my leg to see where I think I want to put it with the sticky bits on. I like the cover on the sticky bits, I then take the covers off and then I put it on, and then to put it in you just press the blue button, and it can take me a little while to do. I like stand there for ages, like really bigging it up, even though it doesn't really hurt. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't really hurt. I just get nervous. Was surprisingly like even better than normal, like it really didn't hurt. So then obviously this is the leftover bit from where the cannula went in. If you can see that little tab, just pull that out, and this is all done with, and we can put this to the side. So that is the cannula in infusion site ready to go, and then obviously like that's where the pump will then sit. So the thing with the Roche Solo pump is, although it's a patch pump, you can still attach it and detach it, so the actual pump itself sits separate to the infusion site, whereas with the Omnipod, as far as I'm aware, it's just all like together and you just put the pod on in one lump. Whereas with the Solo, because there is an open zinc battery in the reservoir which needs to get oxygen, and you also can't get it wet, so the Roche Solo is not waterproof, which means obviously then you need to be able to detach it so that you can shower and stuff. So it is a patch pump, but it's also detachable, which I do quite like, because sometimes, for example, if I'm in the gym and it's on my stomach and it's really like the waistband of my leggings is irritating it and it's like pushing into my stomach, as long as I'm not like high and I'm not towards the lower end of my range, I can then just detach the pump for a bit, even though that means obviously I won't be getting any insulin, and just have a bit more comfort and then put it back on a bit later. Now we're going to do the reservoir, and yeah, with the Omnipod and stuff like that, I think you just literally like get the insulin out with a syringe from an insulin vial. So I have an insulin vial, but you don't use a syringe at all. You have like the reservoir, and it has a filling like device within it, but to change the reservoir we need to log it on the pump, so I'll show you how we do this now. Okay, so this is the home screen. We go to the main menu, replace, and then you have the option to replace the infusion assembly, the reservoir and the pump base. So I've just taken my pump off of my arm site, and this is what the actual pump looks like. So if you can see here, this whole section is the reservoir, and then this is the pump base where a lot of the electronics, I think, are inside here, and you replace the actual pump once every 4 months. So I haven't done that yet, but you just have to scan this QR code with the thing on here. There's a camera on the back. So we have done the infusion assembly already, so I'm going to log on here that I've done it, and we're also going to do the reservoir. So then we click replace, and then it makes that beep to let you know that the insulin has now stopped going in, and it thinks for quite a while. Okay, it then says to dispose of the reservoir and the infusion assembly, done. So obviously my old infusion assembly, I'm going to chuck in the bin. We take this off. This whole reservoir gets binned. You can see I've still got like 19 units of insulin in here, but it will just have to go in the bin. So, then it says attach the new infusion assembly to the area on the body, done. Fill the new reservoir of insulin. So now we get to the reservoir filling. So this is the reservoir. We have to take it out of the package. Then it has, so this orange tab is covering that zinc battery that I mentioned earlier, and you just have to pull it off. You have to do it really slowly, because if you take it off quickly, it can leave some adhesive on the battery, and then the battery can't get oxygen and it stops working and the reservoir will fail. So yeah, pulling it off super slow. So you have to pull the plunger all the way out to fill it with air, put it on top of the insulin, and then push the plunger all the way down. Then keeping your thumb on the top, turn it upside down, and then have to draw the insulin without getting any bubbles. So I'm going to do this off camera because I feel like something I need to concentrate on. I don't want to get any bubbles, but essentially just pulling it down and then pushing it up to get rid of bubbles, tilting it to get the bubbles to go up that way, and just doing whatever you can to get rid of as many bubbles as possible. Okay, so you can see I've filled it all the way up and there are no bubbles. When I was only changing it every 2 days, obviously I wouldn't fill it up the whole way. I do about 160 units of insulin, but because this is going to be lasting me the full 3 days, I now do the full 200 units. So then you just take this whole blue bit off, and you can take this off of your insulin. Then squeeze these two blue bits together to take the plunge off of that. And then you literally just put it into the pump. So, it would help if I did it the right way around. And click, and then there we go, it's connected. So then we can go on here to say connect reservoir to pump base, done. Obviously pump base, new reservoir. Then enter how many units of insulin you put in, save. And now we need to check whether the reservoir is working. So basically you press fill, and it will slowly start putting insulin out, and basically you just have to watch the needle to check whether any actual insulin comes out. So we shall press fill and start watching. Okay, I can't get to focus properly, but I hope you can see there's a small drop of insulin on the end now. So we know it's all working, and we can press OK on here. And then it will just tell us to put the pump into the pump holder on the body. So let's do that now. Okay, so to attach the pump, it's a bit of a twist and click motion. So you can see here, that is where the cannula is obviously going into my leg, and then here is where the insulin is coming out of the pump. So you have to line that up, but like sideways on, and then push down as you twist, and you have to hear 2 clicks. I don't know if you heard that, so I'll just do it again so you can hear what it sounds like. And then to, like I said, you can connect and disconnect it. So you just put your finger on, there's a small white tab here, and pull it off. So let's try doing those 2 clicks again. Hopefully you heard that. And then this is the pump on my body. We can now press next on here, and now you can't really see that screen, but basically it's saying, do you want to start your basal insulin going again? And we just click the green button, yes, and then it will start the insulin going again. So yeah, you can kind of see it is a bit like, that's kind of how much it sticks out, that's how big it is on the body compared to like the palm of my hand. So yeah, and that's kind of how you attach it and detach it, and then you can just walk around with the pump on. So there we go, that is the how to like put on the Roche Solo pump, how it like attaches and detaches. I got a lot of people here and over on Instagram that are a bit confused about how it's a patch pump but you can still detach it, and how it's not waterproof, and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that is an explanation as to how that works, and yeah, the kind of pros and cons of that is that like obviously you have to take it off to go in the water. So if I want to go and swim on holiday, I'm gonna have to do it in like hour-long chunks, because you're not really supposed to be away from the pump for more than an hour, or just do extra bolus or whatever, I'll work it out. But it is convenient in the fact that you can then take it off for comfort. Sometimes obviously when you're not needing the insulin, but yeah, because you can detach it, the actual sticky bit is quite large, and so it is a bit painful to take off, and also it means that it covers a big area of your skin. So if you get irritated skin, this is, I think, a bigger surface area of stuff that's stuck to you compared to like the Omnipod. The actual like sticky area, I believe, is a lot smaller. So yeah, I hope this video was informative and gave you a bit more info about the Roche Solo, because I know not many people have it and I was baffled by it for a while. But yeah, there will be a pros and cons video coming up soon if you are interested in the Solo. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye!